The arrival. Dr. Hando wiped the sweat from his forehead as he observed the zebra herd through his binoculars. The scorching African sun blazed down on his research tent, but after 5 years studying wildlife behavior in the Serengeti, he'd grown accustomed to the heat. Today felt different, though. The animals weren't behaving normally. The zebras kept glancing skyward, their ears twitching with nervous energy. Even the lions he'd been tracking had abandoned their hunt, sitting motionless while staring upward. "That's odd," he muttered, making notes on his tablet. A shadow swept across his tent, far too large for any cloud. Looking up, his jaw dropped in shock. A massive ship, dark and metallic, hung suspended in the sky. It dwarfed any aircraft he'd ever seen, shaped like a colossal arrowhead. As Dr. Hando watched, more vessels emerged from the clouds until the entire sky teemed with them. His satellite phone rang, making him jump. It was his research partner at the main camp. "Hando, are you seeing this? It's happening everywhere. Turn on your emergency radio." With trembling hands, he switched on the radio. The UN Secretary-General's voice filled his tent. "Citizens of Earth, 1 hour ago we received a transmission from the alien vessels appearing across our planet. They call themselves the Kithak. They have demanded Earth's immediate surrender, claiming our world as their new colony." A new voice interrupted the broadcast, deep, mechanical, speaking perfect English. "People of Earth, we are the Kithak. Your primitive civilization is now under our control. Resistance is futile. Your weapons cannot harm our ships. Submit, and you may survive as our servants." Dr. Hando turned his binoculars back to the animals. The zebras had formed a tight circle, something he'd never witnessed before. The lions weren't fleeing or hunting, instead, they sat watching, tails twitching as if anticipating something. His phone buzzed with a message from Kim Yuna, an old college friend now working as a veterinarian in South Korea. "The animals in my clinic are acting strange. All of them. Are you seeing anything unusual there?" Before he could respond, the ground trembled. One of the alien ships had landed 3 kilometers from his position. Through his binoculars, he watched a door slide open in its hull. Tall figures in metallic suits emerged, carrying strange weapons. Suddenly, the zebras stopped their circling. As one, they turned toward the landed ship. The lions rose to their feet, muscles tensed. A family of elephants drinking at a nearby watering hole raised their trunks and made a sound Dr. Hando had never heard before. He quickly set up his recording equipment, hands shaking with excitement and fear. Whatever was happening, he needed to document it. The animals were displaying impossible coordination, behaving more like soldiers than wild creatures. "This is Dr. Hando recording from Serengeti Research Station 7, he spoke into his recorder. "The animals are showing signs of organized behavior. This is unprecedented. It's almost like they're preparing for something." A thunderous explosion made him duck. Military jets streaked across the sky, firing at the alien ships. Their weapons bounced off harmlessly. But on the ground below, something else was happening. The animals were moving. All of them. And they were moving with purpose. The war for Earth was about to begin, and humanity wouldn't be fighting alone. The awakening. Kim Yuna hadn't slept in 2 days. Her veterinary clinic in Busan was filled with animals displaying behavior she'd never encountered before. The dogs refused to bark at each other, cats sat in perfect rows staring out windows, and even the hamsters had stopped running on their wheels, standing motionless as if listening to something only they could hear. "This isn't normal," she whispered, reviewing brain scans on her computer. Every animal she'd tested showed unusual neural activity, their patterns were synchronized, something that should have been impossible. Her phone buzzed with Hando's message from Africa, "Turn on the news. The aliens tried to take over a small town near me, but something incredible happened." Yuna switched on the television. The reporter looked stunned as she spoke. "Witnesses report that when Kithak forces entered the village, they encountered an organized group of wildlife. Lions herded people to safety while elephants formed protective barriers. The aliens were forced to retreat. Similar reports are coming from around the world. Yuna glanced at her clinic's animals again. Max, a large German shepherd, sat perfectly still, his eyes focused and alert. Beside him, a tiny kitten named Snow maintained the same position. They weren't fighting or playing, they were waiting. Her computer chimed with new test results. She gasped at what she saw. The animals' brains were operating on identical frequencies, as if connected to some invisible network. She quickly typed a message to Hando, the animals are linked somehow. All of them share the same brain frequency. Have you observed anything similar in your research? His reply came immediately, yes. The wild animals here are cooperating. Lions and zebras working side by side. They're protecting humans from the aliens. I think Earth's creatures are defending their home. Suddenly, every animal in her clinic stood simultaneously. Through the window, Yuna saw alien ships materializing over Busan. The city's warning sirens began wailing, but the animals showed no fear. Max walked to the clinic door and scratched at it. When Yuna opened it, he didn't flee. Instead, he looked at her, then at the other animals. One by one, they formed a line behind him. Outside, she witnessed more animals gathering, pets from neighboring homes, birds landing on power lines, even rats emerging from sewers. All moved with purpose, like a trained army. Her phone rang. It was Park Jin-woo from the nearby military base. Dr. Kim, we need your help, he said urgently. The animals, they're fighting the aliens, and they're winning. But we need to understand how. Can you come to the base? Bring your research. As she gathered her equipment, Yuna watched Max organizing the other animals. The German shepherd was no longer just a pet, he was a soldier in Earth's most unexpected army. They've been here all along, she realized. All these creatures we share our planet with. Maybe they've always been ready to defend Earth. They just needed a reason to show us. The ground shook as alien ships landed throughout the city, but Yuna felt no fear. She looked at the organized ranks of animals surrounding her and smiled. The aliens had made a critical error. They thought they were merely fighting humans. Instead, they had awakened something far more powerful, Earth's entire ecosystem, united against them. She packed her research and followed Max outside. It was time to help humanity's oldest neighbors save their shared home. The Alliance. The sun was setting over the Serengeti when Dr. Hando witnessed the first real battle between Earth's animals and the Kithak. He watched from his research station's observation tower, recording everything with his camera. 5 Kithak soldiers moved through the tall grass, their metallic suits gleaming in the orange light. They carried strange energy weapons and appeared confident, unconcerned about any danger on this primitive planet. They were gravely mistaken. The lions had been watching too. Dr. Hando had worked with this pride for years, but he'd never seen them hunt like this. 12 lions moved through the grass in perfect formation, making no sound, displaying no territorial disputes. They moved like trained soldiers. Are you seeing this? He spoke into his satellite phone to Yuna, who was now at the military base in Korea. Keep recording, she replied. We're documenting similar behavior here. The lions struck with precision that defied nature. They didn't kill, instead, they disabled. One lion leaped onto a Kithak soldier's back while another bit down on his weapon arm. The aliens' advanced suits provided protection, but the coordinated assault overwhelmed them. More incredible was what happened next. As the Kithak soldiers fell, a family of elephants emerged from the brush. Using their trunks, they carefully picked up the aliens' weapons and carried them away. The lions then herded the disarmed invaders toward Dr. Hando's research station. They're bringing them to me, he whispered into his phone. The animals are taking prisoners. Similar scenes were unfolding globally. In Seoul, Yuna watched from the military base as hundreds of animals surrounded grounded Kithak ships. Dogs, cats, birds, and even insects work together in ways that challenged every law of natural behavior. Colonel Park, Yuna called to the base commander, "Look at these neural scans. The animals aren't just cooperating, they're sharing consciousness. It's like they've formed a collective intelligence." Colonel Park studied the data. "Dr. Kim, this network you've discovered, could it be how they're coordinating across continents?" "It has to be," Yuna replied. "But there's more. The frequency they're using, it's not random. It matches electromagnetic signatures we've detected from deep space for decades. Signals we thought were just cosmic background noise." The realization hit them both simultaneously. "They've been listening," Colonel Park said quietly. "Earth's animals have been monitoring space communications all along." Dr. Hando's voice crackled through the phone, "Yuna, you need to see this. The Kithak prisoners, they're trying to communicate with the animals. It's like they recognize something." Through the video feed, they watched as one of the captured aliens gestured frantically at the lions surrounding it. The alien's helmet translated its words, "Impossible, this world has guardians, we did not know." The lead lion, an old male Dr. Hando had named Kimba, approached the alien. For a moment, they stared at each other. Then, impossibly, the lion seemed to nod. "They're communicating," Dr. Hando whispered. "The animals understand them." Suddenly, every animal in the vicinity turned toward the largest Kithak ship hovering overhead. In perfect unison, they began to move. Birds took flight in formation, land animals marched in organized columns, and even insects swarmed in coordinated patterns. "They're not just defending," Yuna realized, watching her own screens. "They're preparing for something bigger." The scattered battles across Earth were just the beginning. The planet's animals had revealed themselves as guardians humanity never knew existed. But their real test was yet to come. The battle. The Kithak commander's voice boomed across Earth's communications networks, no longer confident but tinged with confusion and growing fear. "High Command, we have encountered unexpected resistance. This planet's guardian species is far more advanced than our reconnaissance indicated." Dr. Hando listened to the intercepted transmission while watching the most extraordinary sight of his career unfold. Across the Serengeti, animals of every species were converging. Predators and prey moved side by side, lions walking peacefully alongside zebras, leopards coordinating with gazelles, even crocodiles emerging from rivers to join the massive assembly. "Yuna, are you seeing this on the global feeds?" he called through his satellite phone. "It's happening everywhere," she replied from the Seoul military base. "Every continent, every ecosystem. The animals are mobilizing on a scale we've never imagined possible." Through her laboratory window, Yuna watched as the sky filled with birds, not just local species, but migratory birds that had traveled thousands of miles in mere hours. Whales were beaching themselves along coastlines worldwide, not to die, but to position themselves strategically. Even deep-sea creatures were rising to the surface. Colonel Park burst into her lab. "Dr. Kim, we've intercepted more Kithak communications. They're calling for immediate evacuation of ground forces. Something has them terrified." The answer came at dawn. As the sun rose over Africa, Dr. Hando witnessed what could only be described as a planetary awakening. Every animal on Earth began to emit the same low-frequency sound, a harmonic vibration that seemed to pulse through the very ground. The Kithak ships, previously impervious to human weapons, began to shake. Their energy shields flickered and failed. "The frequency," Yuna breathed, studying her instruments. "They're using the same electromagnetic signature that disrupts Kithak technology. Earth's animals have been listening to alien communications for so long, they've learned how to counter them." The battle that followed was unlike anything in human history. While military forces engaged the Kithak ships in traditional warfare, Earth's animals coordinated attacks that seemed impossible. Flocks of birds carried small explosive devices to vulnerable ship components. Armies of insects infiltrated Kithak ground bases, shorting out electronic systems. Marine mammals used echolocation to guide human submarines to critical targets. In the Serengeti, Dr. Hando watched Kimba lead a charge against a landed Kithak vessel. But this wasn't a savage attack, it was strategic warfare. The lions disabled the ship's weapons while elephants used their trunks to tear open access panels. Chimpanzees, displaying tool use that surpassed their known capabilities, operated captured Kithak equipment against their former owners. They're not just fighting, Dr. Hando realized. They're teaching us. Showing us weaknesses in Kithak technology that we never would have discovered. The tide turned decisively when the world's apex predators, great white sharks, polar bears, tigers, and eagles, began coordinated strikes on Kithak command ships. These animals, enhanced by their collective consciousness, moved with precision that made elite military units look amateur. But the most shocking moment came when the largest Kithak mothership attempted to flee Earth's atmosphere. Every whale in the world's oceans surfaced simultaneously, releasing a sound that resonated through water, air, and space itself. The harmonic frequency created a barrier that prevented the alien ship from escaping. "It's over," Colonel Park announced as Kithak vessels began powering down across the globe. "They're surrendering." The captured Kithak commander's final transmission was heard worldwide: "We yield to the guardians of this world. We did not know, we did not understand. Earth is protected by a consciousness older and more powerful than our empire. We withdraw our claim and beg safe passage from this sacred world." As the alien ships departed, Earth's animals maintained their vigil until the last vessel disappeared into space. Only then did they slowly return to their normal behaviors, predators resuming their hunts, prey animals returning to their herds. But something had changed forever. Humanity now knew they had never been alone on their planet. They had always been protected by guardians who asked for nothing in return except the right to share their home. The victory. 6 months after the Kithak departure, Dr. Hando sat in his research tent, but his work had fundamentally changed. No longer was he simply observing animal behavior, he was part of the first human-animal communication project in history. Kimba, the old lion who had led the charge against the aliens, lay peacefully near the tent entrance. Through the neural interface technology developed from Yuna's research, Hando could sense the lion's thoughts, not words, but emotions and intentions as clear as spoken language. The guardianship was always there, he spoke into his recorder. We just weren't listening. His phone buzzed with a video call from Yuna in Seoul. She appeared on screen surrounded by the same animals from her clinic, but now they served as official liaisons in the Global Animal-Human Council established by the United Nations. "Hando, you need to see the latest deep space monitoring reports," she said excitedly. "The neural network the animals maintained, it's been active for millions of years. They've been tracking extraterrestrial communications since before humans developed language." Max, the German shepherd, moved closer to Yuna's screen. Through the translation interface, his thoughts came through clearly: "Many visitors have come to this world. Most leave when they sense the guardians. The Kithak were different. Aggressive. We had to show ourselves." Dr. Hando nodded thoughtfully. "Snow, the kitten, mentioned something similar yesterday. She said the network extends beyond Earth, that there are guardian species on other worlds too. A galactic protection system," Yuna mused. "And we never knew we were part of it." The revelation had transformed human civilization. Cities worldwide were being redesigned to accommodate both human and animal needs. Conservation efforts had become collaborative projects, with animals guiding humans to ecosystems that needed protection. Agricultural practices had revolutionized as farm animals communicated their needs directly. But perhaps most importantly, humanity had gained a new perspective on their place in the universe. Colonel Park, now director of the Global Defense Initiative, joined their call. "The early warning system is fully operational," he reported. "If any hostile force approaches Earth, our animal partners will know days before our most advanced telescopes could detect them." Through the tent entrance, Dr. Hando watched a mixed herd of zebras and wildebeest grazing peacefully. But he knew that if needed, they could transform into Earth's first line of defense in minutes. "There's something else," Yuna said, her voice filled with wonder. "The animals have been sharing memories through their network. Stories passed down through generations. They remember the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs, the ice ages, even the rise of human civilization. We're not just living with Earth's guardians, we're living with its historians." Kimba raised his head and looked directly at Dr. Hando. The lion's thoughts came through the interface with remarkable clarity. Humans learn quickly. Good partners. The guardianship is stronger now. As the call ended, Dr. Hando stepped outside his tent. The African sunset painted the sky in brilliant oranges and purples. Around him, the sounds of the Serengeti continued as they had for millions of years, but now he understood what he was truly hearing: the communications of Earth's ancient protectors, the guardians who had kept their world safe long before humans knew they needed protecting. Above, the first stars began to appear. Somewhere among them, other worlds had their own guardians, their own networks of protection. Earth was not alone in the universe, and humanity was not alone on Earth. The animals had always been there, watching, waiting, protecting. Now, finally, humans were listening. In veterinary clinics and research stations, in zoos and farms, on mountains and in oceans, the partnership between humanity and Earth's guardians grew stronger each day. The planet that had seemed so divided was revealing itself to be more united than anyone had ever imagined. The war was over, but the real journey, learning to be worthy partners to the guardians who had always protected them, had just begun. The end.